Good evening and welcome to another program. My name's Chris Powis, and first of all, I'd like to welcome, because we've got a wider audience than I thought we had. For people from, I've had response from Japan, Thailand, and the Dominican Republic. My word, it's rather exciting, isn't it? So, welcome. And also, we've got people listening in a camper van stranded in Spain. And this is what I'd like to speak about. Now, you notice that there's a YouTube link below here, as you can see. And it's the website, sorry, not the website, the YouTube site they have is RVLISCIOUS. Now, I'm interested in camper vans. And when I say camper vans, I don't mean the posh ones that people buy. I'm talking about getting an old van and converting it and living in the back of it, touring around Europe, which sounds very nice, sounds idyllic. Anyway, last night I was browsing around YouTube and I came across the site that you can see advertised below. And it was very, very interesting. And they're two very nice Dutch people, and they're in a little bit of a dilemma. And this is why this is an urgent appeal. What's happened is, as we know, this well, I call it a fake pandemic, but pandemic, if you want to call it, is going on, and they're stranded in Spain. And I say they are from the Netherlands, and their van has broken down, and they've been towed to a Peugeot garage. And what has actually happened is the mechanic from Peugeot has come along and said, nothing that can be done, the engine's gone, which is not exactly a diagnosis, is it really? So also, they've actually been offered accommodation there for €60 a night. And the words rip off and exploiting someone's situation comes to mind. Now, I think that, you know, there's human decency involved in everything. And they're obviously the people surrounding that Peugeot garage are trying to profiteer. And that not only angered me, but then I thought, well, hang on a moment. You know, that mechanic is trying, I believe, allegedly, that the mechanic is trying to profiteer from these people who obviously haven't got a lot of the old folding stuff. None of us have nowadays. And, but bad karma, he's creating bad karma. So I come back to him one day. But let's get on with the sort of situation. Now, these people, they're outside this Peugeot garage, and they're between a rock and a hard place. And if you please go onto their video, they explain it better than I can. But I've had some good news this morning, because the Peugeot garage made it known that they didn't want them there. Now, what can these people do? There's lockdown in Spain. They can't move the vehicle. They're in a dilemma. But what they did advise, this is the people in the, and I say these people, it's Patrick. Please excuse me if I can't pronounce your surname correctly, because I am English after all. It's Patrick Havakate and Petra Smit. I hope I've pronounced your names correctly. But what they've told me to tell anybody else that's stranded in Spain, if they're in a similar situation, they're stranded in a camper van, is to contact the local council there. And now, I don't like local councils, but I have to admit the local council in Spain has been very helpful to them. And in English, they wrote back in English, and they've told Patrick and Petra that they can actually stay in their van, and the police may come along to see if they need any help or goods or anything. Now, that's what the police should do. They should be there to help people, not write out fines and things like that. So that's a little bit of good news. Now, if you got, if you look down the back of your settee or anything like that, or your seat, and you find a few coins, or you got a little bit of cash, please add to their PayPal account. It's on their YouTube, and it does help, to give a bit of the old folding stuff, lira or whatever you want to call it. In Britain we call it dosh, or as I say, dosh, folding stuff, lira, dollars. I'm sure they accept anything, because what's happening, they're also being ripped off by T-Mobile, and apparently they're fining them €5 for being too long. That's 4 months in Europe, and they've also fined them €35. Huh? How nice. So let's face it, boys and girls, we know who to avoid in future: T-Mobile. So I definitely will not be going anywhere near T-Mobile. Now, as for Peugeot, I've actually had an idea, and I've been sniffing around the internet, and I know their head office is in France, and I didn't have enough time to find out who the actual top notch is, the chairman is, because I always believe there's an old English saying that you do not complain to the monkey, you complain to the organ grinder, which roughly translated is you always go to the top man or woman. You do not deal with the, shall we say, the oily rags, the lower ranks. And I never, if I complain about anything, I don't really complain. I'm always polite, and it's always an advisory note. And if you approach it like that, I think it's usually a little bit better. So my feeling is that I want to ask the senior chap. Now, all I could find is the senior director in the UK, but I think it's best to write to the senior director, who would obviously be in France. And I'm sure you could look that up on the internet. They say there's customer care, but I've usually found if you go via customer care, I'm not criticizing Peugeot, but I'm talking about a range of other organizations, they're trained to fob you off. Now, this is not a very good advert for Peugeot, how they've treated these people. So I was thinking of putting a letter together and just asking them, is it their company policy? Is this, if I actually bought a Peugeot car and I was stranded in Spain, could I expect this level of service? Because we need to know, because if that is their standard policy, to treat people in this way, then, they can kindly advise people not to, people then will not buy a Peugeot car. And I think that the best advert is word of mouth. And remember, please copy this video and send it around, because if this goes around the world, it's surprising what the public, you can vote with your feet and say, oh, okay. Now, I'm not going to put Peugeot in a bad light. Let's give them a chance, because I think this is just one agent which is giving Peugeot a bad name. So I think what we could do is just write a letter to the company director, very polite, the senior chap or woman, and just say, what's happened? Point them towards the video here. And in a way, you're doing them a favor, because you're saying that if that dealership is bad, it's giving Peugeot a bad name. So you're not being unpleasant, and you're actually doing them a service. You're telling them what has actually happened. And if I can't say what Peugeot would do, but if I was in that position, I don't know what the lockdown laws and that are in Spain. I know it's pretty strict, but I'd send a pretty good mechanic down and get that van sorted as quickly as possible, for the sake of goodwill. But anyway, let's have a look in chat, see what we've got here. We got Urban Stealth Camper Van. Hello. Hey up. Yes, you're from my neck of the woods, aren't you? And who spreads lies, other spreads truth. Good evening. And oh, hello, you've got RV Licious on here. But yeah, if you're the Urban Stealth Camper Van Man, he's a good channel. He's got a good sense of humour. Similar, well, you know, we're from the similar neck of the woods, so we've got a similar sense of humour. But I'm sure he, as well as I, are really enjoying this lockdown, aren't we? But anyway, on a serious note, if you can help these people, maybe, you know, the RV Licious, if you may know of a Spanish mechanic in that area. I don't know whether they'll be able to travel over to them and help them, or whether Patrick or Petra could actually make a film of what might be wrong with the engine, and they might be able to get advice from a mechanic anywhere in the world, because I keep my own cars on the road. You know, I don't generally take mine to a garage. I service my own vehicles, but I'm not a qualified mechanic, and my vehicles are petrol, not, and I think it's diesel. And RV Licious, we know the Urban Stealth Man. Oh, that's good. Now, one thing I was going to say, what the problem could be, and this is just a very, very long stretch of the thing. There was a YouTube channel where there was a couple, was it Russ to something or other? Oh dear, I'm sorry, I didn't make a note of their website before I came on. How silly of me. But they were in Eastern Europe, and with all this rain that we've had, I think the tanks in the petrol stations have probably got a little bit of water into them, and they filled up with diesel, and it turned out to be diesel and water, and the engine wouldn't start because what had happened is water had gone through, the pump had pumped it through, and it was soaking wet. And what they had to do, or what they had to get a mechanic to do, is to drain all the diesel out, take the fuel pump out, dry it all off, and make sure the actual all the way along the line was actually free of water, and eventually they got the van started. And I'm wondering whether that might be your problem. Who knows? We just don't know. But let's have a look at. So as I say, log on to there, and if you've got any extra little bit of dosh, please, you know, please help out, because you know, it must be very, very difficult for them, because in a situation like that, that takes a lot of money. So, you know, it's nice to help each other. Right. Let's press. What's going on here? This won't go off. It's got stuck. Where are we? Yes, it's definitely got stuck on here. I can't remove this banner. I don't know what's gone on here, but still, that's life. I've got to be stuck with it. Come on, off you go. How have we got a stuck banner? Oh well, it makes life exciting, because I was going to put your comments on. Let's see if the comments. That's got rid of it. That's it. So let's look at your comments now. Yeah, we got. They don't. This is from RV Licious. They don't allow us to be on the streets working on the van at the moment. It is difficult with police finding everyone. Like, oh, it must be terrible. Oh, what a terrible situation. But I know I was pleased to see that you got a nice response from the local council there, who are okay with you being in the van. But oh yes, it's everybody's looked upon as a criminal nowadays. That is terrible, isn't it? You know. But oh, what a terrible situation to be in. So let's put some positive thoughts in your direction, shall we? And we'll try and find our way out of it. And as I say, put a little bit of dosh in their kitty. I'm sure it'll cheer them up a bit. It's a nice surprise, isn't it? Right, here we go. And what we got here? We should have gone for a petrol one. Yes. Yes, that's the thing. Yes, I don't know much about diesel. I'm very much a petrol-minded person, but I've got an ancient vehicle, a Toyota Carina, that was built in 1989. And it's it's about 31 years old now, but it still goes well and it's in immaculate condition. Right, now what we got here? Yes, we welcome tourists to undesirable. Yes. Right, we got something from John here. Curious what they consider working on the street. I'm wondering what will happen if you fill the water up again and check it if it stays in. Yeah, it's well, actually, I was talking to a friend of mine. Hello, still got the banner out there. I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in a remote sort of area in the north of England, and he was at a bus stop talking to a friend of his, and his friend was showing him something on his smartphone, and suddenly 2 police officers walked over and threatened to fine them £70 if they don't stand 2 meters apart, and they're in the middle of nowhere. But well, I say middle of nowhere. It's a Yorkshire, Lancashire town. So there's not that many people there. It's getting absolutely ridiculous nowadays. It really is. It's stupid. Now, the other thing I was going to actually cover was there's a very interesting video. Now, I'll try and get the banner back up again, see if I can get it on. No, it just will not do it. What we got here? Hide. No, I can't remove this banner. I'm ever so sorry. Oh well, that's life. But if you go on to Ants Van Life, ANTS space VANLIFE, and I've got it on a banner, but it won't show it. He's got a very interesting video on there called The Hidden Agenda. And I poo-pooed the idea. I thought, oh, sort of G5 to do with this fake demic, as I call it, pandemic. But a chap who really knows what he's talking about is on there. And it certainly makes sense. It really does make sense. So I advise you to actually look on there. So it's ANTS. I've got a banner for it, but I can't show it. Sorry about that, because it just won't switch off. So it's Ants Van Life, and it's The Hidden Agenda. Now let's have a look in comments again. And we got here. We don't have access to water at the moment. The garage is. Oh no. Actually, are you anywhere near shops? Can you get to shops or anything? Yes, nice banner. Yes. Now, what have we got here? Oh, are people broken down? Yes. For anybody who's joined late, what's happened? These very nice people are traveling through Spain, and their van has broken down, and they were towed to a Peugeot garage. Well, you better go to see their video, which is displayed on this banner, which I can't remove. And unfortunately, they've broken down, and the mechanic just looked at the vehicle and said, "Oh no, there's nothing to be done about it," and wants to take it for scrap. Oh yeah, and is prepared to offer them rooms for €60 a night. Yeah, the old dosh in it, and that to me is sick. People that are in need of help are profiteering from them. That is the lowest. To me, that is the lowest of the low. I don't think you can get much lower than that. It's awful. So this is why I think we could all try and help. Right, let's have a look here. For the time being, we can just fill the car with regular water instead of coolant. Oh, I see. Yes. I mean, for the time being, for the time being, you can fill the car with regular water instead of coolant. Oh yeah, you can do that, because if it's summertime, yeah, you can do that. I'm just thinking. I think in that situation, if you can't get to shops, here we got here. Yes, there are some shops, but not sure if they are open. That's a point. Yes. Probably your best bet is, I mean, the council seem to be very helpful, and they might be helpful again. I don't know. I think it's going to get that way in the UK. At the moment, we can walk to the shops and we can go out for exercise. But I think they're going to clamp down on that in the next couple of weeks. Because I heard somewhere today, but I haven't heard it on the propaganda news like BBC. I try and avoid the BBC because it makes me feel sick. But you can only go, drive 2 miles from your home? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Has anybody else heard of that? You can only drive 2 miles from your home, but I don't know. I want to pick up some stuff that's about 6 miles away, so I don't know whether I'm going to get dumped at that. I really don't know. But right, we got John here. Exactly, John. Having the same experience. Exactly, John. Having the same experience. Great point. Yeah, I don't think there's any garages open at the moment. Currently, you can't get an MOT done, which is a good thing, really, I suppose. I don't know. But there's not many cars driving around. And I suppose petrol is very, very cheap because there's nowhere to go, really. No, it's very, very weird. The world has turned upside down. As you've probably seen by my earlier videos, I'm not buying this virus stuff. I really am not. I'm sorry about that, but I'm just, if I upset anybody, but I really am not buying it. Oh, hang on. A Living Beings is coming with something. What have we got here? Show. 2 kilometers. Whoops. Hang on. What have we got? So it's less than 2 miles. Blimey. Less than 2 miles. So I can't even get to the supermarket. It's pretty remote. Well, it's that remote, but a bit out in the sticks. We got something here from RV-licious. One person can go out to the shop and only spend 30 euros. Wow. Save the ticket as proof to show police when stopped. Good heavens. 30 euros. That's not much, is it? That's about 20 in English money, give or take. That's off the top of my head, because I think euros are near enough similar to £1 now. So, my word. That is a clamp down, isn't it? You know, it's a shock to your system, really. I went down to the local town the other day and I cycled down there because I didn't know really what to expect, whether there's any roadblocks or anything like that. And because there are roadblocks around, so I've heard, but I haven't seen any in the part of Britain where I live. I haven't really been very far. And I couldn't believe it. There's all these people always. I went to the town. It's like something out of a kind of science fiction film, because there's a few people walking around with their masks on, and there's like with gloves. I saw all with gloves, masks, a mask, goggles, and everything. Hardly anything's open. And when it comes to food, there's very little choice. I mean, for instance, I like fresh farm eggs. And what I mean by that, I don't want battery farm eggs. I think it's exceptionally cruel. And, free range, that's what I buy. Couldn't get free range at all. It was either a battery hen or nothing. And other things like very basic with food, and you can't get porridge anywhere. I've noticed they've sold out of porridge. Bread is short, and also milk. Better luck I've got some milk powder. But really, it's no real hardship. I don't have milk. I just get used to drinking tea and coffee without it. So, there it is. But no, it's sort of, it's very spooky at the moment. How long it's going to go on for, I really don't know. But if you look at the Corbett report, that's worth watching, especially his latest one where he talks about people clapping. It's quite interesting. Hello, we got another comment from RV-licious. Spanish government wants to track everyone's movement by their cell phone data. Yeah, that's right. That's why when I go out, I don't take the smartphone. I've got an old-fashioned phone. Well, I say old-fashioned, you know, it's about 10 years old. You know, the standard old ones, and I keep that off. Hopefully, they can't track me from that. But I have heard in Britain that they are taking photos of people's number plates to see where they're going, and so that if they see that number plate, say twice or 3 times in one day, there might be trouble. It's Big Brother looking at you, telling you where you can go. But to me, this is all to do with United Nations Agenda 2030. And if you look it up, it's basically a communist rollout, because it says it in black and white. It's no conspiracy. It's actual fact. And another fact, as I said the other day, if you go onto the United Kingdom website, it's given advice if you want to go overseas. It says the current virus is very, very low threat of contamination. So there we go. Right, so let's have a look here. Patsy, what you got here? Hello, Patsy. Hiya, I'm late. Time flies and flies. Oh dear, I haven't got a recap again, have I? But actually, Patsy, if you look on this YouTube site, that'll explain exactly what I've been talking about. And I think that's probably the best way. Yes, this banner that I cannot get rid of, but I don't want to, because it's quite a nice banner and they're very nice people. So why do we want to get rid of it? No. And what we got here? Public Health England. Yes, Public Health. I've got a feeling, though, that more people than we realise are seeing through it, because the numbers are so low. And I've heard from several people, one chap whose wife is a nurse, said that the wards are empty. There's nobody there. And as I said, they said on the local radio the other day that 2 people have died from this coronavirus. Yes, one, an elderly lady in her 90s, who, because, you know, pneumonia doesn't exist anymore. It's called corona, who was frail anyway. And another chap who was in his late 80s, who was frail. So what's going on? And the numbers are very, very low. I mean, are they taking the Michael or something? And apparently in Sweden, there's no lockdown at all. We can walk around freely. And it's similar in Japan, although they're starting it in Japan. So, you know, it's strange. Yes, similar reports all over the world. Well, you know, they're saying, I mean, if it was if it was 1 million people, we'd be something to worry about. But they're saying so many thousand. Well, apparently more people die of suicide or just a general flu than the numbers for this so-called virus. So I think it's being very, very hyped up. And I heard a report today that the Italian mafia are not standing for it, and people are starting to walk out of their houses, because let's face it, it's a bit like a caged animal. You can't keep him for too long. I mean, I find after about 2 or 3 days in the house, I start to crawl up the wall. You know, I've got to go out. I just feel closed in. And I just thinking, you know, it's a bit like I didn't get a van and convert it and decide to go around Europe, because I might be stuck. I've been stuck there. Who knows, you know. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody that's joining us tonight. I won't be doing the 8 o'clock spot this Thursday for a very good reason. I didn't realise that a Panwo radio, that's with Ben, I did a recording with him on Saturday, and it's going to be played this Thursday at 8 o'clock. So if I went on live at 8 o'clock, I'd clash with it. You know, people would sort of come onto this channel. They might go onto Ben's channel and say, hang on, how can that bloke be in 2 places at once? So go on to Ben's channel, a Panwo radio, and you'll hear me at 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear it, because I wonder what I said. That was only last Saturday I did that recording. And I'm thinking now, Mark Windows, he does his live program at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. So I can't go on Wednesday because I don't want to clash with him. I can't go on Thursday because I'll be clashing with Ben. So I'll probably be back tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. But as well, because I can't go anywhere. So hopefully I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And I wish I could put I'll try one more time to get the banner up here of a Panwo Radio. Let's see if I can get it. No, it just will not have it. That's life. But, well, things go wrong, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? But let's try and keep cheerful. And as I always say, thank you very, very much for joining me tonight. I hope you can join me tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. And also listen to Hapanwo hang on, let's see if I get this right. It's HPANWO hyphen RADIO, so it's hapanworadio.blogspot.com. Now you're probably thinking, is this some foreign station? What's Hapanwo Radio? Well, it actually stands for Hospital Porters Against the New World Order, because Ben was a hospital porter and he got the order of the boot for being a little bit too outspoken about what is really going on. So, that should be interesting. And also, I'm not sure whether Ben will be on tomorrow night with me or not. Don't know. It'll either be tomorrow night. It might be over the weekend. He's going to come on here and we're going to talk about, now, when it comes to UFOs, my attitude is I'm a little bit skeptical. I don't generally go into that subject, although I did do a film a few years ago called UFOs, a possible perception deception. And I think governments use it a bit like this virus as a little bit of a hype. So I've upset a lot of people that study UFOs and that. So it should be quite interesting. I know, Ben, we always have a laugh, so it should be quite an interesting program. So he'll either be on, I'm not sure about tomorrow night, but he might be on over the weekend. So thank you very much for joining me this evening, and I hope I can get the graphics sorted out next time. And let's read the comments just before I go. Here we go. Oh no, hang on a minute. What we got here? Then you clash with Richie Allen. Oh, blimey. I can't win, can I? Right, let's have a look what Paul said here. Just look at Heathrow, arrivals and departures. Ain't no lockdown for, for some it appears. That's right. For some, I think he means there. Well, Paul, that's interesting. Looked at last night, just don't add up. That's right. Nothing that the official news media that is telling us adds up. It just does not. Just use a bit of logic. You just look at it and you think, what's going on? It just seems so contrived, because let's face it, if you tell a lie, you've got to keep reinforcing that lie all the time to make it look real. And I think when you listen to, I try not to listen to the news radio, but when you listen to it, it's over the top. It really is. So what we got here from Harvey Richard. Thanks for the call out. Have a great evening, everyone. Well, on that note, thank you very much. And I do hope situation gets a lot better for you. And, and I do hope people send you a little bit of dosh through. And sorry, in English, that means money. And thank you, Patrick. And thank you, Petra. And I'm sure things are going to work out okay. And please remember to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe. You just press the button, subscribe, and ring that bell. There's a little bell that you can press, and that alerts you for when I'm coming on. So there we go. And I think it's the same with RV Licious, and it's also the same for the Urban Stealth Camperman as well. Thank you very much, and goodbye. And hopefully I'll be back tomorrow at 8 o'clock. You can't get rid of me. Good night.